The iPhone 6s and 6s Plus are here, they're official, but before you pick one up, these are 6 things you should know. So what's up guys, Jonathan here, and the first thing that you should know is that the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus now come in a fancy new color. In addition to the silver, space gray, and gold, the highly rumored rose gold is now official. Now it's not a super bright, smack you in the face neon pink, but rather a more toned down, pinkish gold, which I think looks great. Interestingly enough though, the iPhone 6 is now only available in silver and space gray, so if you want that gold, you gotta go 6S or 6S Plus. On top of that, these feature 7000 series aluminum, which means they're stronger, they're more durable, and more than likely ready for that bend. The screen is also now made with a dual ion exchange process, and fancy pants talk aside, much like the aluminum, it's stronger and more durable, but I think that's really something that needs to be tested with time. So next up, I want to talk about the 6S versus the 6S Plus, because much like last year, there are both differences and similarities between the two. Just like the 6 and 6 Plus, the screen size is exactly the same, coming in at 4.7 and 5.5 inches with the exact same resolution as well. 1334 by 750 on the 6S and 1920 by 1080 on the 6 Plus. Now, contrary to most upgrades, both the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus are slightly thicker and heavier than its predecessors. The extra thickness isn't massive, it's only 2mm, but where the bigger difference lies is the weight. The iPhone 6S is 14 grams heavier and the 6S Plus is 20 grams heavier. Now the last key difference between the two is OIS, or optical image stabilization, where the 6S Plus has it and the 6S does not. So next up, the third thing that you need to know is that the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus are fast as 5 monkeys on a bicycle. Inside is Apple's A9 chip, which is their third 64-bit processor, and it looks like it'll perform very similar to the iPad Air 2's A8X processor, which is a beast. CPU performance is 70% faster than the previous generation, and graphics performance is 90% faster, which is balls crazy. The M9 coprocessor, on the other hand, which essentially is the A9 sidekick and tracks things like motion and fitness and steps, is now integrated directly into the A9, and that's going to help with overall performance and efficiency. Now lastly, based on performance, I would assume that the A9 is a tri-core processor, much like the iPad Air 2, but I haven't seen it confirmed anywhere, so if you've seen that, definitely let me know. Now the fourth thing that you should know is that 3D Touch actually looks cool. So 3D Touch, which essentially is a rebranded Force Touch, adds a new layer of functionality by reacting to how much pressure you apply to your screen. For starters, there are 2 main functions, a peak and a pop. A peak is a light press which lets you preview something, and a pop is a deep press that lets you fully engage the action. So for example, in Mail, you could light press to get a preview or deep press to fully enter the email. This also applies to a link someone sends, so you can peek to preview and pop to open the link, or even a location of maps. Again, you can peek to get a glance or pop to dive into the full map. This also opens up quick actions, which I think could be really useful. So with this, you can press the camera icon, and in turn, that's going to bring up a submenu with a series of shortcuts you can then select. This will also apply to messages, maps, gaming, multitasking, and really iOS 9 in general, but it looks solid and I'm stoked to check it out. So next up, the fifth thing that you should know is that the cameras look really good. We see a jump up from 8 to 12 megapixels, and like usual, there's tweaks and improvements through hardware and software, but forgetting about these super technical specs for a second, the pictures that Apple showed off today looked killer. Detail was on point, but what really impressed me most today was color and dynamic range, and specifically this picture here. There wasn't a ton of lighting, but you could see a crap load of detail in her hair, and none of the shadows are lost. On top of that, the iPhone 6S and 6 Plus are now part of Team Crispy. And yes, I know 4K video recording on a smartphone is not a new thing, but if you're an iPhone user, that's good news, and I am personally looking forward to shooting some footage with it. Lastly, for you selfie maniacs, there's also a pretty solid front-facing camera upgrade as well. Previously, the iPhone 6 and 6S sported a 1.2 megapixel front shooter, whereas the 6S and 6S Plus both now have a 5 megapixel camera, so even them snaps are going to be crispy. Now the last thing that you need to know is that it's 2015, the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus are fast as hell, they have awesome cameras, but they feature 16 gigabytes of storage as the base model. And seeing how we just got done talking about 4K video, Ralphie, what happens if you shoot 4K video on a base iPhone?
You're fucked.
But seriously, 16 gigabytes is way too small, and yes, I know it's really just a marketing tactic to make the 64 gigabyte model that much more appealing, but come on, Timmy, we need more storage. So aside from that, thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, and you are feeling like being awesome, make sure to go Iron Man versus Captain America on that like button, and stay tuned to the channel because tomorrow there's gonna be a video you don't wanna miss.